Chapter 3 looks at, again, the basis of a healthy diet. But this one looks at it from a aspect of what specifically should I be looking for? What specifically should I be doing in my diet? How much of this should I eat? How much of that should I eat? So um, there are some terms, there are some numbers here that you'll have to remember. Again, these are things that we will revisit in the next few units as well, especially in the next one. It also looks at how to read a food label, and we're going to look at some components of a food label and understand kind of what we're seeing and why this is important, and really why certain things may be there or not there. So that's some of the stuff that we'll highlight here in this chapter here. When it comes to how much we need, there are a number of different things that go into it. Lifestyle. Lifestyle is probably the biggest one. That's the biggest influence on how many nutrients you need. Okay. And with lifestyle, that's, diet and exercise. Okay. If you exercise, you're going to need a hell of a lot more stuff than if you don't exercise. Okay. Age. Every age chunk, every decade, for the most part, let's just say, especially when it comes to adults, it's similar in function. Similar in these are the nutrients you need for this age group. 20 to 29, they generally need the same thing. 30 to 30s, 30 to 39 need pretty much the same thing. Every decade of life, metabolism potentially slows down. Okay, and I say potentially slows down because we used to honestly think that it slowed down pretty dramatically starting in your 40s. But there was some interesting research last year that looked at metabolism through the ages, and it didn't appreciably really it didn't significantly slow down until much later than we thought. In this study, they looked at late 50s, really the 60s is when it started to slow down. So I don't know if that's going to affect how we look at nutrients for ages, but that's how we've kind of clumped it in. Every decade of life, that's how we've arbitrarily put all these factors in. Now, I say for adults. For children, it's a little different because you have a nutrient factor for 0 to 1 year, 0 to 6 months, 6 months to a year, 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 6 or 7, 7 to 11, and then your teenage years, and then you're an adult. And then it varies after old age. So there are a number of different age groups. Generally for us, we think about it in terms of tens of years for us, every 10 years. Males and females. Males and females need a lot different stuff. A few different obvious reasons why. General health status. Do you have some kind of disease? Do you not? Are you quote unquote healthy? Okay. I don't like using the word normal because what the hell does normal mean when it comes to someone's health? Somebody can look completely normal and drop dead. They had an aneurysm. They weren't completely healthy then. Okay. So do you have some kind of disease state going on? Do you not? Do you have high blood pressure? Do you not? Use of medication. Okay. If you're using medication, you're not 100% healthy. Okay. If you're on, if you would tell me that, I'm healthy, I eat well, I exercise, and I'm on some high blood pressure medication. Okay, by that definition, you're not 100% a healthy individual. Okay, you have some good building blocks, but you have to be able to control your blood pressure with medication. By definition, that puts you in the category of not as healthy. Okay. What is this mythical nutrient requirement? Well, it's the smallest amount that maintains your body's health. Again, and that varies depending upon all of those little 5 factors there. Some more than others. Okay. Obviously, health status and medication are some of the biggest ones. Okay. If you suffer from a genetic condition, you obviously will have a much more different nutrient requirement. So what does that mean for some of these crazy things you're talking about coming our way? Well, that just means your RDA is going to be different. Okay. And to figure out that, you may have to consult with a physician, trial and error on your own to figure out what's the right amount of nutrients to not get into a disease state, a malnutrient state. And that's the difficult part. Trying to Ouija board out when it comes to health status, what certain nutrients you require a little bit more of because of that increased need. Where can nutrients be stored? Nutrients can be stored predominantly in your bones. Okay. Minerals are a great place to store bones. Bones are a great place to store minerals. Blah. Your body fat, obviously. Anything in excess, carbs, fats, proteins, any of those done in excess, we convert it to the F word, body fat. Liver is also a big place. That's going to be where we store a lot of different nutrients. It's probably one of the bigger stores, to be honest, behind body fat. We don't really think about it though, because we use the liver to quickly pull stuff out of. So body fat is, I guess, the big one, number one, long-term storage, followed by liver, and then bones. If I wanted to put a fourth bullet, and I honestly probably should have, there is a little bit that gets stored within muscles. Okay. Not a whole heck of a lot and only certain things, but still there are nutrients that can be stored there for some very immediate use. Okay. But the three that the book lists, the three that I have listed over there, those are kind of the big three. And when we talk about pulling out from our stores to increase the amount of nutrients within our blood, this is where we're going to be talking about getting them out of. Okay. Especially body fat and liver. Those are two big ones that we'll talk about in the next unit. For optimal nutrition, we max out our stores. Okay. We maintain this optimal amount of storage as much as we can. This ensures that if intake is low, we can pull them out from storage and we'll be perfectly fine. Okay. Now, if we have an extended period of time of not putting in these nutrients, like certain minerals, and I'm constantly pulling them from the bone, what can this do long term if I have a very poor diet? Weak bones, right? And we don't want that, especially for you women. For you women, man, peak bone density is by 29. After that, you just maintain. If you have really low levels of estrogen, or if you don't have a menstruation, low levels of estrogen, you lose minerals in your bones even faster. And this can lead to osteopenia, osteoporosis later on in life. Okay. And again, by 29, let's just say 30 for grins and giggles. So by 40, you're already starting to lose bone density. You've had difficulty having a menstruation. I mean, the likelihood of having you osteoporosis in your 40s can happen. So you want to get to that optimal amount of storage to ensure if there is a low intake for a short period of time, it'll be perfectly fine.